Hey, welcome to Why I Hate Being a Wife. I'm your host, and yeah, that title probably made you do a double take. Good, that's the point. Maybe you saw the title and thought, oh shit, this is gonna be messy. Or maybe you saw it and thought, finally someone's saying it. Either way, you're here, so let's talk about it. Let me be really clear right from the start. This podcast is not about hating my husband. It's not about hating marriage as a concept. Hell, it's not even about hating my life. It's about hating what society expects me to be as a wife. There's a difference, a big one. See, wife isn't just a title. It's a role, and that role comes with a script that nobody handed me, but everyone expects me to follow. It comes with invisible labor, with sacrifice, with putting myself last, with managing everyone and everything while making it look effortless. And I'm tired. If the title made you uncomfortable, sit with that for a second. Ask yourself why. Why is it okay for women to be exhausted, resentful, and drowning? But it's not okay for us to say it out loud. Why does honesty about marriage make people so uncomfortable? Because we need to be uncomfortable about this stuff. We need to talk about it. We need to stop pretending it's fine when it's not. And nobody else is doing it. So I guess I am. So, what is this podcast? This is a space for women who are exhausted, not just tired, exhausted, bone deep, soul tired. I don't remember the last time I felt like myself. Exhausted. This is for women who are tired of the invisible, unpaid, unacknowledged work of being a wife. The mental load that never stops running in the background, the emotional labor of managing everyone's feelings, the physical labor that nobody notices until it doesn't get done. This is for women who love their partners but absolutely hate the role they've been shoved into. You can love your husband and hate being a wife. Those two things can coexist. And if anyone tells you they can't, they're lying or they're lucky. This is for women who are tired of pretending this is fine, tired of smiling through family dinners they cooked alone, tired of being called mom by their own husbands, tired of being the default parent, the household manager, the one who has to know and remember and plan everything. This is unfiltered, real talk about marriage that nobody wants to say out loud. The stuff you think about at 2 a.m. when you're the only one awake because you're the only one who remembers that tomorrow is picture day and the permission slip is due and someone needs new shoes and the grocery list is running in your head and you still haven't figured out what's for dinner tomorrow. I'm not here to fix your marriage. I'm not here to give you 5 tips to be a better wife or 10 ways to get your husband to help more. Fuck that. I'm here to tell you that you're not crazy. You're not ungrateful. You're not too sensitive. You're not expecting too much. You're just tired. And you have every right to be. This podcast is validation. It's permission to be angry. It's a space to say the things you're not supposed to say. It's acknowledgement that this is hard, that it's unfair, and that you're not wrong for feeling that way. Now, let me tell you what this is not. This is not marriage counseling. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a relationship expert. I'm not here with a toolkit to save your marriage. I'm just a woman who's tired and angry and done pretending. And I'm guessing you are too. This is not male bashing. I want to be clear about that. I'm talking about systems and expectations, not individual men. I'm talking about how society has set up this role and what it costs us. I'm talking about patriarchy, gender roles, socialization, cultural expectations. Now, does that mean we're not going to talk about the ways individual men fail to step up? No, we're absolutely going to talk about that. We're going to talk about weaponized incompetence and partners who don't carry their weight and husbands who treat you like a household manager instead of a partner. But this is bigger than one person. This is about how we've all been sold a lie about what marriage is and how women end up carrying the weight of that lie. This is not anti-marriage propaganda. You can love being married to your person and still hate what wife means in our culture. You can love your family and still be exhausted by the role you're expected to play. You can want to stay married and still be angry about the inequality. Those two things can coexist. Love and resentment can exist in the same space. Gratitude and anger can exist in the same breath. You can be happy you have a family and still mourn the parts of yourself you lost to get here. If anyone tells you that you can't love your life and still be frustrated by it, they're not being honest or they're not paying attention. So, why am I doing this podcast? Because I'm tired of pretending. I'm tired of smiling through it. I'm tired of performing the good wife role while I'm drowning behind the scenes. I'm tired of making it look easy when it's not. I'm tired of being pleasant and capable and uncomplaining when I'm actually exhausted and resentful and barely holding it together. I wrote a whole book about this, Why I Hate Being a Wife, and as I was writing it, I was putting all of these thoughts and experiences and frustrations into words. I realized there's so much more to say, so many layers to this, so many angles, so many women living this exact same experience, thinking they're the only one. I'd be writing a chapter about the mental load and think, oh, but there's also this aspect and this situation and this example. I'd be writing about invisible labor and realize I could write 10 more chapters just on that. I'd be writing about the default parent trap and think about all the conversations I've had with other women who feel the exact same way. And I realized this needs to be more than a book. This needs to be ongoing. This needs to be a conversation because other women need to hear they're not alone. They need to hear that their anger is valid. They need to hear that they're not crazy for being frustrated and that they're doing everything while their partner coasts. They need to hear that wanting equality doesn't make them a bad wife. They need permission to stop pretending this is fine. And honestly, I need this too. I need to say these things out loud. I need to stop swallowing it. I need to stop performing gratitude for inequality. I need to stop acting like it's fine when it's not. So this podcast is for me as much as it's for you. This is me refusing to be silent anymore. This is me saying the things I've been told not to say. This is me being the difficult woman I was always afraid of being. And if that makes people uncomfortable, good. Be uncomfortable. Sit with it. Ask yourself why women's honesty makes you so uncomfortable. So, what can you expect from this podcast? We're going to talk about the mental load, that invisible, exhausting, never ending work of remembering, planning, anticipating everything for everyone. The work of being the household's project manager, executive assistant, and IT department all at once. The work that never stops, that runs in the background of your brain 24/7, that nobody sees or acknowledges or values. We're going to talk about invisible labor, all the work you do that nobody notices until it doesn't get done. The meal planning, the schedule coordinating, the emotional management, the birthday card buying, the appointment making, the household managing, all of it. We're going to talk about the default parent trap, how you became automatically responsible for everything kid related, even though you're not a single parent. How schools call you first, how doctors list your name, how everyone assumes you're the one who knows everything about your kids, how you're functionally a single parent, even though you have a partner. We're going to talk about weaponized incompetence. When your partner pretends to be helpless, so you'll just do it yourself. When I don't know how really means I don't want to learn because then it'll become my job. When he is perfectly capable of managing complex work projects, but suddenly can't figure out how to run the washing machine. We're going to talk about chore play, the insulting, degrading, infuriating idea that men doing housework deserves sexual rewards, like your vending machine and dishes are quarters. Like basic adult tasks are favors that deserve prizes. Like equal partnership is something transactional instead of, equal partnership. We're going to talk about sacrifice culture, why it's always your career that's flexible, your body that changes, your dreams that get put on hold, why his ambitions are sacred and yours are negotiable, why you're expected to give up everything while he gives up nothing and everyone acts like that's normal. We're going to talk about the good wife performance and how exhausting it is to keep smiling while you're drowning. The pressure to be pleasant, capable, grateful, uncomplaining, to make it look effortless, to never admit how hard it is to perform happiness even when you're falling apart. We're going to talk about losing yourself, losing your name, your identity, your friends, your hobbies, your ambitions, becoming mom or his wife instead of yourself, forgetting who you were before all of this. We're going to talk about loneliness, how you can be surrounded by family and still feel deeply, profoundly alone. How you can have a partner and still feel like you're doing this by yourself. And we're going to talk about anger because you're allowed to be angry. Your anger is valid. And anyone who tells you that you're being too negative or ungrateful or difficult can fuck right off. This is going to be real. Real stories, real frustration, real language. I'm not sanitizing this. I'm not making it palatable. I'm not wrapping it in pretty language or softening the edges. I'm not going to say dang when I mean fuck. I'm not going to smile through this. If you're here for gentle, polished, let's all be grateful and find the silver lining content, this is not the podcast for you. There are 1,000 other podcasts that will tell you how to appreciate your husband more, communicate better, lower your expectations, and be more flexible. This is not that. But if you're here because you're tired and angry and done pretending, if you're here because you need to hear someone say out loud what you've been thinking in silence, if you're here because you need validation that you're not crazy, welcome. Seriously, you're in the right place. We're going to get through this together. And eventually, I want to bring on guests, other women who feel this way, women who are willing to be honest about how hard this is, women who are done performing, women who want to say the quiet part out loud. If that's you, reach out. Let's talk about it. Let's build a community of women who refuse to pretend anymore. Now, I know some people are going to be mad about this podcast. I know it. I'm prepared for it. They're going to say I'm ungrateful, that I should appreciate what I have, that some woman would kill to have a husband and a family, that I'm being too negative, that I'm damaging my marriage by talking about this publicly, that I'm a bad wife for not being happy all the time. And to those people, I'd say this. Why does talking honestly about inequality make you so uncomfortable? Why is it okay for women to be exhausted, resentful, lonely, and angry, but it's not okay for us to say we're exhausted, resentful, lonely, and angry? Why is silence required? Why is pretending mandatory? Why do I have to smile through this to make you comfortable? I'm not asking for pity. I'm not asking for anyone to feel sorry for me. I'm asking for acknowledgement that this is hard and that it's not equal and that women have every right to be frustrated by that. And if you think that's too much to ask, if you think women should just be grateful and quiet, then honestly, you're part of the problem. I'm also prepared for people to say I'm being too hard on my husband, that I'm making him look bad, that I should keep this private. And look, I'm not here to trash my husband specifically. I'm here to talk about the role of wife and what it demands from women. But yeah, we're going to talk about partners who don't step up. We're going to talk about inequality in marriages. We're going to talk about the ways women are failed by the people who are supposed to be their partners. Because if we don't talk about it, nothing changes. If we keep it private, We keep pretending, and I'm done pretending. If you're listening to this and nodding along, this podcast is for you. If you're listening to this and thinking, oh my God, finally someone gets it, this podcast is for you. If you're listening to this and feeling seen for the first time in years, this podcast is for you. If you're listening to this and feeling relief that you're not the only one, this podcast is for you. If you're listening to this and crying because someone finally said what you've been feeling, this podcast is for you. You're not alone. You're not crazy. You're not ungrateful. You're not expecting too much. You're not being too sensitive. You're just tired, and you have every right to be. And if you're listening to this and getting defensive, if you're feeling attacked, if you're thinking not all men or not all marriages or she should just be grateful, maybe ask yourself why. Maybe sit with that discomfort. Maybe think about why hearing about women's frustration makes you so uncomfortable, because hearing about women's exhaustion bothers you. Because if hearing about women's exhaustion bothers you, imagine how exhausting it is to live it. All right, that's it for this episode. This is Why I Hate Being a Wife. I'm your host, and I'm done pretending. If this resonated with you, subscribe, follow, share it with other women who need to hear this. Leave a review if you want, or don't. I'm not here for likes and follows. I'm here because I need to say this, and you need to hear it. Next episode, we're diving into the invisible shift. How I disappeared when I got married. How everything about me changed while nothing about him did. How I stopped being a person and became a role. Until then, remember, you're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to hate being a wife even if you love your family. I'll see you next time. Peace.